About 6 years ago on the show Britain's Got Talent, a middle-aged woman walked out on stage. She looked kind of frumpy, kind of dressed and not in a very attractive kind of way. Her hair was very ordinary, not a lot of makeup. They questioned her. A few people snickered when they asked her, well, tell us, who would you like to be like? Who do you aspire to be? And she named some famous British singer, and the people laughed. And then they said, well, why is it that you've never sung before publicly? She still hadn't opened her mouth really to sing. And she said, well, I've never been given the chance. And then she started singing. And boy, did she sing, because after the first line that Susan Boyle sang, I dreamed a dream, everybody was on their feet with a standing ovation, inspired, and loving every moment. They lapped it up. They couldn't get enough of this woman who they had deemed going to be a failure on this particular show. They didn't think she would have any kind of a voice because she was just very meek, very shy. Just think, she could have run off stage and never sang publicly again, which means that, the world wouldn't have known her beautiful voice. I watched the video of it this morning at breakfast. You can Google, YouTube, Susan Boyle, Britain's Got Talent, something will come up. Actually, it's very beautiful to watch. It's very inspiring. She finally got her chance. It's a shame in the gospel reading today, Jesus did not. There, when he went to his own hometown where he had grown up in Nazareth, the people did not accept him. They looked at him like a failure. Really, they looked at him like, well, what's he going to give to us? We've known him for 30 years. He's the carpenter's son. What could he possibly offer? What is he going to tell us that we don't already know? Maybe they were annoyed with Jesus. I was thinking about this because Jesus left them, and he went and did all these great things up in Galilee. And he finally returns home, and they're wondering, well, gosh, what's he going to do now for us? But maybe they were mad at him because he'd waited to go away to do all the great things. Why did he wait till he was 30 years old? Well, they didn't really understand the scriptures. But Jesus didn't get a chance there to do what he was called to do because he was not accepted. A prophet is not without honor in his own native place. And so really just think about how with the Lord on this particular day, what could he have done there in Nazareth if the people only had faith? Who was he sent there to heal, to which maybe they were not open to? What did the people miss out on because they had blinders on for who Jesus was, for who he was going to be, for accepting him, not just for what his past was, but for what the future could hold? How sad for the people there in Nazareth that they missed out on what he could have offered to them. It's a good message for us on this day about certainly not sizing people up just by appearance. Not just looking at somebody and saying, well, I know who they are and they have nothing to offer. We never know what talent they may hold. We never know what God has called them to do. We never know what we might miss out on by ignoring somebody, not respecting their dignity, not helping them to be the person God called them to be. Are we closed to a prophetic message, even in the midst of 2015? The other part of it is, are we called to be prophetic? What is it that's deep within us that's just kind of waiting to be expressed to the world? Do we have the courage to be able to speak a message, to be able to do what God has asked us to do? I hope so, because as baptized Christians, we are called upon to be priest, prophet, and king. We are called upon to be part of the family of Jesus Christ, which means we speak his word, we speak his truth. Now, we don't speak truth without love, and we don't love without truth. So in the midst of our culture today where, there's a lot of iffiness maybe when we're giving messages, We're challenged as Christians in where we live. But that does not mean that we are silenced. Just because maybe our message is not always popular when certain decisions are made or government puts something down or puts something forth, it doesn't mean that we cannot speak truth with love. It's what we're called upon to do. It's what we're called upon to do as really citizens of this country, to have the gift and beauty of freedom. Which, by the way, when the forefathers of our country sat down, they did so with a very Christian type of mentality. They did so with God in mind. So it's kind of ironic how sometimes God seems to be getting written out of a number of things. God's really at the forefront and the center, because freedom, my friends, does not come from government. Freedom comes from God. And so as a result, we are called upon to celebrate the gift of freedom in God's love and in his light. So in our own prophetic mission, how are we called to speak the message of Jesus Christ? Whether someone is listening or not, how sad that they might miss out on the beauty of the message of the gospel. Who knows what God is calling us to do, and hopefully we will have the courage to be able to speak truth with love and to love with great truth. Because we want to make sure that God always has a chance to be heard. We have to make sure that God has the chance to speak, that hopefully people are listening, and through our own baptism, we are continuing to build the kingdom of God with great courage, with the beauty of our truth, and doing so with great love.